All right, we can get started. And let's start with catching up on last week's AIs. So we had the OpenStack docs theme review permissions issue. I suppose that's still not fixed, uh, right, Adam?
Let me quickly check, but nah, I think no. I haven't seen any changes.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. All right. A little bit of an update on that. I think Daniel, who is active on the Oslo team as he just had a baby, so I think he's away from his work for a bit, and so that might be one of the reasons for the delay. But as you also know, the Oslo team it has a DPL model, which we are trying to reset to the PTL model to try to see if all of the liaisons are still active. So we might have some issues, getting acts from folks, and people probably may not be comfortable just taking the call themselves without first discussing it. So this item's still on the Oslo meeting. So we'll follow up week on week on this.
Uh, just one thing,
Yeah.
I will tomorrow send nomination kickoff email, so the nomination for PTLs will start. So I think this should be decided. Like
Yeah.
if it's going to be PTL model again, there should be some candidates, right, in next 2 weeks.
Yes. I think I'll update you on that as well in just a little bit because I think I need some more buy-ins from the rest of the TC for something that Ghanshyam has put up. Let's talk about that in just a sec. Um, the next AI that we had was on Freezer's release, and this was done. And we went ahead and merged this change. From the TC's perspective, this is done, but it's now up to the release team. So we need to let the release team know. Include freeze. Okay, I'll take an AI for this. We'll find out from the release team. I don't know if somebody already has. If you have, please let me know. Hey, Ghanshyam. Oh,
Hey,
cool. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. All right. So let's move on to the next one. I think we had a whole bunch of watcher patches. Oh, thank you. That'll be helpful. Jeremy says he'd bring it up again on the release meeting. And we had a bunch of patches with the DPL reset stuff. We'll pick that up in a separate topic. Um, and we the Another thing was Oslo's governance for the next cycle. So we were in this situation with Oslo where there are three liaisons, and each of them has increasingly been doing other things over the past cycle, and so they've been doing it in different time zones too. So coordinating between them has been hard. But in the past, I suppose they have expressed that they would like to be going to a PTL model as well. So Gansham, if you'd like to fill in for
Yeah,
what's happening.
so the situation is like for Oslo, and the Daniel, I think, current liaison, he's doing all the release things and all. So, and there's no confirmation from them whether the DPL model will continue or not. And if I see the other liaison, which is me for TACSIG, which I'm here, since I will continue help either it's a PTL role or DPL model, doesn't matter. Takashi already mentioned like he's not in upstream task much, so that also another challenge if we even continue the DPL model, whether how much time they can spend
Yeah.
as a liaison they are volunteering to. So, but as per our process requirement, because we have not got confirmation from all the liaison to continue DPL, we should move it to the PTL model and see if in the election, if Daniel can raise the candidacy thing or not. If not, then obviously we'll be having a good clear picture to us that Oslo need a maintainers and either PTL or the more active license for the DPL model. Because as we know, like we don't want just DPL model to be, a center for the inactive project. So moving these projects to the PTL and getting more clarity, getting the explicit confirmation from the license or having new maintainers, those are the steps will be helpful. So that is where the Oslo project is. So I feel like moving this to PTL and see if there's anyone coming forward as a PTL and taking more responsibility. That will be a step forward. And if there is no candidacy for PTL, then obviously it will be in our list for PTL appointment, and there we can discuss how to move forward. So for this, we still have the governance change to merge before the election candidacy folder I proposed, but that is depends on the governance one. As election nomination starting tomorrow as officially, so maybe we should merge our governance change today as soon as possible, so that it will be easy for election, official to have a final list of projects to run for election. Slavik is here, so it will be helpful. Like he has already +2 on the election candidacy thing. So, but as he is here, it will be helpful for us, to have all sync up with him, and he can move forward also.
Makes sense. Let me just ask if there is anybody that objects to this. If not, could you please +1 the patch that Gansham has, the governance patch, to reset the model so that I can go ahead and merge it. I just probably need just one other +1, but since a bulk of you here, you could help out by reviewing it.
Well, this was I'm very happy to see a new PTL candidate for Oslo.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that, I think. Oh, you said you'll be happy to see a new PTL candidate.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, hope so. I mean, as per my conversation with Daniel in past and previous cycle and all, he might step up, but we have to wait for his confirmation or something. But I feel like having a PTL, like moving from DPL to PTL, is also not a bad thing. I mean, we always thought of like having a DPL is we have more people to share the responsibility, but when we don't have those more people much active, that's not good thing. Yeah, like one example, you guys discussed the OpenStack theme thing just before I joined, right? So that has been hanging so for many weeks or month, I think, and that could have been sorted out perfectly if we have the clear, the picture on the leadership and the responsibility on the leadership thing. So if we find a PTL in Oslo, so those kind of maintenance thing, if new person try show the interest to maintain their repository or deliverables, those can be fast to get the decision, right?
So the note that Jeremy has on the IRC channel, I think, is that if they were to revert to the PTL model, they can do so by submitting some changes. But this reset is part of that too, because we started doing this reset every cycle since the last release.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the reset is. Right? So changing from PTL to DPL also there is option. So there is nothing like if the PTL is being selected and there is some role change happens, and if there is a possibility of DPL in between of cycles, so there is always possibility. So that we have in our process.
Okay. All right. So I think we can get ahead and merge that, but go ahead and merge that change. We have a couple of plus ones now. And we can follow up with the election change before the nomination email goes out, I suppose. All right. Let's move on to the next AI. So we were expecting the release team to act the Victoria patch, so the EOL patch for Victoria, and that's this link here. And it was surprising; it was actually done. So that was nice. I think thanks to Elod.
Yeah, so there are set of projects which Elod shown interest to maintain, so they are still in unmaintained state, but rest everything else is in EOL. So that's a good transition. And following this Victoria patch, we can do the same for, I think, those yoga, JED, wherever the timelines are. So those things we can also do it. Because we have now clarity what all projects we have the volunteer to continue as unmaintained and what all we can just do it even.
Do you know if Ghanshyam, if Rickler will pick that up, or if somebody else should?
I mean, we can check with the release team, like Frickler is doing. So if he has a plan or not, so that we can check, because from release team, it's the EOL proposal is there, so we can also confirm as a TC or as a community member, like, okay, we are go ahead with the, say, yoga, these unmaintained thing to go to EOL, right? So
yeah.
I'm not sure if there is a plan, anyone is planning, but I think we have to check with Frickler if because why he didn't propose everything, every stable branch thing, because he wanted to get a clear picture on Victoria thing first,
Yeah.
and then yeah.
All right. It'll be painful for a little while until we go through these transitions. But the other thing I had with this, I think, is we know Elad is going to be maintaining these, or from people from his team would be maintaining this, but we haven't really written that down anywhere. Is there a need to write that down somewhere, saying this person, or is the really sorry, the extended maintenance liaison, right, is what we've called out in the EM process? Sorry, sorry, the unmaintained liaison or something.
So that's we have a team, right? Unmaintained core team and all. So,
Mm.
so if that, one thing is like that team has to be up to date, right? All the active members. If there is obviously there is members not interested to maintain unmaintained thing, or they are not active in community, so obviously that has to be get updated. And I think continuing the unmaintained branch beyond their timeline or whatever is all depends on how active that unmaintained core group is. And if they are not able to maintain the CI or whatever our requirement is, we can always propose a EUL for them. So I'll say the list you're mentioning is nothing but the unmaintained core group, and that's where like any of the unmaintained branches they volunteered, or per project, or as a the centric or general core group. So that's where like we will be seeking to those people if there is something like unmaintained branch is not maintained. So we'll be checking them. Hey guys, this is the one going in EUL. So what's your plan or not? So there will be a contact person, and Elod, we know like he's there in that core group always. So it's not like some new person came and tried to maintain and we don't know much about them, but at the end it will be the unmaintained core group who is all responsible for any of the unmaintained branch.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And maybe that's a good thing you mentioned. Maybe during PTG or somewhere we should also keep checking those unmaintained group, whether things are active there or not. Like we do reset for DPL model, we do check for our goal and all. So maybe that check can be a good thing during once in a cycle or once in a year, maybe.
Yeah, it makes sense to take a thing at the PTG. Thank you. I just took an AI for that. I haven't created the Etherpad yet, but I'll add this.
Yeah, I was asking for that. I was about to ask for that if we have some Etherpad yet. Because, for example, for the Nova meeting, I just started a new Etherpad.
Nice. I'll create one and I'll share it. All right. So moving on. Anything else about this unmaintained Victoria transition? I think people were happy to see that it was done by the deadline. That's all we had with respect to the AIs. I think we'll just discuss the TPL model reset thing. If there is anything left, I don't suppose there was anything left after this Oslo.
Yeah, the Oslo thing is the final one, but I'd like to give like a summary and benefit of it. Like we all other project continuing the DPL, but Watcher is a good example where we refresh the license and we got to know okay, there's one license we need to be explicitly get whether they are active or not. So just a feedback that DPL model reset thing is going really good. So we should continue in every cycle, because sometimes it's extra paperwork, and for project like where the maintainers are active, they will feel like why ATC is asking about reset every cycle. But we have the benefit of these, like Oslo and Watcher is the good example where we had a good outcome of this reset check. So that's
Makes
the one
sense.
thing I noticed during this reset thing.
And with respect to who is doing it, I mean, we're lucky
So
that you're able to do this every cycle,
so
but
there
I'm
is
just,
a so there is every DPL model we have added, as we discussed in previous cycle. As per reset process, we have the TC license listed there. So currently it's me, but it can be anyone else, and it can be more than one TC member there. So whoever TC license listed in the each DPL project, so it's their responsibility, to make sure the DPL model is being reset every cycle. And definitely they can check in between of the cycle also, but at least every cycle that TC license should be, volunteering for this work. So that's what we have mentioned in our DPL process also and documentation also. And there can be more than one TC member. Currently, I am there, but feel free. You guys also can add your name in the project you are, more closer or interested in.
thank you. Anything else with respect to this? If there's nothing else, let's move on. All right. This is our regular gate health topic.
Couple of possible impacts to mention. One is that earlier today we made a new release of PBR. So if projects notice any packaging or other obscure issues that suddenly started impacting their jobs a few hours ago, then reach out. We'll try to take a look. We tested it very thoroughly, including with the pre-release version, just to be sure that that it was as transparent change as possible. But nothing's ever 100% foolproof, so you never know. The other item is that we have been under pretty heavy test load the last couple of weeks. Pretty much maxed out quota during peak development time every day, 4 hours at a stretch. It has been observed that some projects run a lot of jobs on every change. Some of them like upwards of 60 plus jobs on a change, many of which are multi-node jobs. So like one change can suck up between 10 and 20% of our overall quota, and result in a lot of other jobs sitting in waiting or queued state, while they're trying to squeeze into the available quota. So just a reminder that projects need to take a close look at what jobs they're running and maybe try to combine jobs if there are some that are similar and are doing a lot of redundant testing, checking mostly the same stuff over and over for hours on end. And otherwise maybe whittle down jobs that aren't so critical to try to leave some bandwidth for other projects to test as well.
Fungi, I remember like some time ago, Dan Smith was doing some exercise about something similar, and he had some list of the projects. Neutron was one of the main culprits of the issues, but do you have the list of the projects which are consuming the most?
No, nothing's really been put together exhaustively. It was more just anecdotal observations. Clark had mentioned earlier in the week that he saw Kala changes running 64 jobs to a change.
Whoa. 16?
64.
60. Oh, wow. Okay.
Like 2 to the 6th.
Yeah, I see.
And these are nodes,
Whoa.
right? Or these are jobs?
Those are jobs. So
okay.
like, say on average 1.5 nodes a job. That's probably like close to 100 nodes consumed by a single change.
Yeah.
And we've got a quota of somewhere between 500 and 800. I don't know off the top of my head because it varies from week to week.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Do we have any kind of email about that? Because at least I can look at that for Nova, of course. But I wonder, for example, if the PTLs knows about that for the other stuff. My main concern is that maybe we'll need to look at that for this release, because like we are not yet on the feature freeze, right? But like by the week before the feature freeze, if we continue to have this kind of problem, it could be a problem for merging some stuff. So I don't know. Do we need to like create some kind of specific email for asking for the PLs to look at that? Because as a reminder, as I said, if we don't are able to fix that by the next 2 weeks, then basically on the last week, it will be a larger problem.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of looking at it real quickly right now, there's a Nova change in the check pipeline that's running 25 jobs. I think that the recent change to the Zool dashboard to collapse all of the queues by default, so you don't see how many jobs are running for each change, has kind of moved this to the backs of people's minds maybe, so they might not be noticing as much as this is accumulating.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So for the other jobs, of course, that depends of the modifications, but 20 is, yeah, a bit less than 20, but yeah, it could be something. So I understand you, Fungi. Basically, what I'm saying is that if basically by now we have the problem, I can discuss that with the Nova. I can be discussing that with the Nova team, because maybe until the feature freeze, maybe we should be needing to modify that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying we shouldn't be testing something. Definitely, we need jobs. But if this is impacting, then my main concern is that nobody will then have anything.
Yeah.
So
I
instead
mean,
of
I
like not testing stuff, we'll not have anything.
yeah, I don't want to encourage people to not test things. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
we don't have, and I don't have the time to put together a breakdown of the node hours being consumed on a per project basis. But if you just kind of skim the check pipeline from time to time, you'll see
Yeah, I
examples
know.
of changes that are running an awful lot of jobs, and maybe if you notice that there are things that are being tested that are redundant, that are not necessary, whatever, like just try to be mindful of that, particularly if you've got a lot of non-voting jobs. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 non-voting jobs on a Nova change here with like 25 jobs running. Like, I mean, you could,
Yeah.
if those non-voting jobs have been sticking around for a while and are probably not serving much purpose, then maybe think about trimming those back.
We know about that, but I mean, what I'm saying is that the Nova community already look at that. For example, we have periodics. We have a lot of periodic jobs that we run every week. So basically, what we can do in order to help you, I mean, in order to help not you, but like the community, is maybe modifying some jobs to be running every week instead of for every for every for every new change. But I'm not saying that I need to discuss that with the community, with another community, if we can do that. But I just don't want to be like, I just don't want to have only the Nova community doing that. Like I know, for example, for the Nova community, every week during the Nova meeting, we are looking at the periodics. So that's fine for us to move them to the periodics because we will check them at every Nova meeting. But I don't know for the other projects if they do that.
Yeah, the thing is here, like if any project is reviewing them regularly, say like Neutron, they have CI meeting, Noah does. So those are good testing there, right? They're reviewing like whether those no voting can be removed or move into periodic and all. But main problem here is the project like Cola, they have 64 job, whether they have reviewed their job or not, and whether they have distributed it to the periodic pipelines or not. So maybe we should put like from TC side, we should have a project like regularly review their job. If they feel like okay, these are the required and mandatory thing for their testing, it's okay, but at least they review, and that won't be go until this 50-60 jobs. Every change is, I mean, I don't know, much more can be distributed in periodic pipeline too, and many can be combined also. We have seen in past many projects, and we keep adding the jobs for small configuration which could have been combined into a single job, or running in periodic or something. So maybe we should encourage projects to review their test jobs and check whether they are mandatory or not. And one good example Fungi mentioned is non-voting job. Those obviously has to be reviewed, regularly and monthly.
But I will definitely look at the 25 jobs that we on for every change in Nova. I wasn't thinking this was more than 20. So probably we changed a few things. So
I had a question with
20.
this. Isn't there also some sort of a fair queuing thing that happens over here that if, let's say, Cola has X number of jobs, they're gonna be, I mean, that just blocks other Cola patches. And the other project queues are still allowed to continue claiming nodes. because I remember this was the case when this was the issue with Triple O. They used to have a lot of test nodes.
I mean that depends on the pipeline, right?
Yeah,
But
and also the one thing we added in Tempest job, I think the fail early or some flag is there. If there's a early failure, they can release the node and it can be used for other jobs. But it depends whether they have that flag
yeah,
thing or not.
yeah, I would say my main concern is about the gate pipeline. For the check pipeline, I would say this can be a problem for other projects, but for the gate pipeline, then that can become some kind of problem, not only for a specific team, but for all the OpenStack for all the OpenStack communities.
Maybe, Gautam, if you're preparing Etherpad, that can be a good, item to discuss in that leadership session, cross leader session, and at least we can float this information to the project leaders to check.
I remember I was playing with some scripts or something what Dan started to check projects and how much infra they are using and things like that. I can not this week probably, but I can try to find those scripts and maybe try to get some data about the project so we can maybe decide if we want to talk with some teams or about next actions.
Yeah, that will be helpful. Cola and Civil is, clearly, I pasted the link in IRC. In the check pipeline, they have for every distro. Yeah, there are a lot of jobs. Many projects, Magnum, Activia, Massacre. So it's per distro, per project kind of things.
Makes sense. All right. Sylvain, if you're talking, the mic's muted.
No. I was I was saying that's probably what Dan did, looking at the project's YAML file, and I was just myself wondering what's the link for querying each of the repository by the same query. That's not OpenSearch. That's I mean I will ping you guys on the ERC about that.
Thank you. Anything else about the gate this week? Right. Let's move on to the TC tracker. I'm a little bit lagging behind over here. I truly came back from from a long break this week, so I got to look back at this thing and even cross out things that I've been working on. I suppose we've made some progress on the goals, and the most active ones being the migrate CI jobs to go into Noble and Python 3.12, and the eventlet removal. And of course, the unmaintained branch cleanup, we're starting to see those efforts just about kick off.
Yeah,
quite-
on Noble migration, I think those three projects still there, but there's good progress in Skyline. I mean, things are merging in there, so that's I think I already moved. Let me check if I updated Etherpad also. So two project Heat and our DevStack plugin container for CRI-DASO installation, which is required by Tacker Kubernetes job. So the two things are yet to fixed. Otherwise, everything's are pretty much green on the Noble, except doc job also. Doc job also, as Pungi mentioned, the new pipe release is there, so we have that setup tool installation there, but things looks okay. Other than these two projects, I'll try to ping them. I think Takashi is the only maintainer in Heat, so that's another worry. But he's aware of the things, and I think he's working. For DevStack plugin container for CRIO installation, I pinged Hongbin, and he acknowledged last month, but I'll try to reach out to him again if he is planning to work with Tacker team or someone to fix it.
Okay.
Other than that, on RBAC goal also there's progress. I proposed for Cloud Kitty and Blazor two project the RBAC changes, so they are also under review. So those two projects implementing those phase 1, 2. So that's the progress on RBAC. Sorry, I didn't update the Etherpad, but I should be doing maybe next week as soon as we have progress. It will be easy for you to track.
Yeah. I'll follow up. I can ping you. So you said Blazor and CloudKitty.
Yeah, I'll add it in Etherpad. Sorry.
Thank you. All right. Is there anything else on the tracker that you folks were looking at? Or anything else that you were tracking that's not on the tracker? Take that silence as no. Let's move on to open discussion. Slavik, how was FOSDEM?
Very nice, actually. We had OpenStack Birds of Father session on Saturday. Amy organized it. I was surprised how many people were there. I mean, it was more than I was expecting, to be honest. Many operators. So we basically got some feedback about how they are using it, what they are using, and things like that. But they also had some questions to ask, and so yeah, there was good discussion for 1 hour. Then the evening we had this open infra party, let's say, meetup. And again, there was a lot of people there. And given that there is plenty of different events in the evening, on Saturday evening during the FOSDEM, so people have places where to go. I was again really surprised that so many people knew about this Open Infra meetup and came there. So yeah, it was pretty good. Interesting discussions. There was also Dimitri who came. He wasn't in the Birds of Father session, but he came in the evening. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, I didn't realize. Was there cake?
No, there was beer, which
Oh,
is
there was beer. Okay.
better version of cake. Yeah, so it was fine, really nice.
All right. Thank you for that recap. Amy's not here, but maybe she'll have some more feedback in the next week's meeting.
Just one question, because you may be interested in joining FOSDEM like next year, but last time I went, it was a decade before. And the main concern that I had with FOSDEM is that because when I was wanting, for example, to go to some Python discussion, then I wasn't able to join this because it was already packed.
Yeah, that's the FOSDEM reality, I would say. I mean, you can always, there are rooms which have plenty of space always, and there are rooms where there are, I would say, more hot topics currently discussed in the industry.
Let me guess. The less packed topics were AI, I guess. No?
Less fact, yeah. Barely anybody wants to talk AI these days.
But I'm not sure if there was really the dev room dedicated to AI. Maybe there was, and I missed it. I was mostly in the networking room. I was in some virtualization and cloud things room and some things like that mostly. So, but yeah, for example, I wanted to go for some talks related to eBPF, and the room was full, and I was waiting like for 30 minutes, and nobody was going out, so nobody could came in, and then so yeah, it is like that in FOSDEM. Yeah, sometimes you need to go to if there is room which is very popular, the room with popular topics. You need to go like 2 or 3 sessions before the session which you are interested in, just to have your place there and sit and wait for what you want to listen to. So it is how it is on FOSDEM.
You technically go into a single room and don't ever go out. That's something what I was practicing usually.
Usually, yeah, it also works.
Just like you lunch directly. I mean, okay, then just get some lunch directly in here and don't leave it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what you need to do for like the world. No, let's not discuss that now. Sorry.
And another thing is that there are no really breaks between talks. Like talks are one after another all the time. And sometimes if you have like tight schedule and wants to go from one place to another, you need to like have some break and don't schedule any talk for yourself for like 30 minutes, because you need to go from one place to another. And those are in different buildings, often on different floors. So you need to like, you really need some time to get from one place to the other if you want to switch buildings. So yeah, as Artem said, it's also good practice to like stick in one room and stay there for most of the day. Yeah.
You can anyway get everything else on video at home with the popcorn.
Yeah, but I prefer to go there.
Yeah, sure. You go there
better.
for the most important things, like also for socializing and everything regarding the learning or regarding consuming sessions. You just watch them at home.
Yeah, everything is recorded and will be published in a few weeks, I guess. So, yeah.
You miss out on the Belgian fried potatoes, though.
And this year, for me at least, what was surprising was the weather, which was surprisingly good, comparing to all previous years when I was on FOSDEM. It was no raining at all. It was sunny, so like no like FOSDEM.
Nice. All right. Well, we still have 5 minutes. Any other topics for open discussion? All right. If there's nothing else, we can hang up, get on with the rest of the day. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and I'll post the video recording and the summary. See you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
See ya.
Thanks, bye.